Hello guys, how we doing? Welcome back to the Free Hammers. Luke here. I tried to do this video this morning, but I had a little bit of problem and then it deleted off my phone. So I had to wait till I get home, and now I'm home I can do a little reaction to some of the little leak news that come out today, or sort of early this morning. It's about Marco Silva. You will know him as the Fulham manager, ex-Watford, and Howe as well. Also Everton as well, in there as well. A manager I've always liked. I think he played some really good stuff at Hull. Bit unlucky there as well. With Watford, he did some good stuff there. Again, it was a bit sort of, you know, the players were taken away from him. And then at Everton, it's a bit of a poison chalice, that club, over the last few years. And I think it's unfair to judge him on that. In terms of his career win percentage, it's around the 49% with all the clubs he's been at. I like him. I do. Would I be happy with Marco Silva at West Ham next year? 100%. I think he's still young. I think he's only about 46, you know, which means, you know, he's used to this new philosophies that are coming in football. He's doing a fantastic job at Fulham. Again, with slightly limited resources there. He's doing a really good job. They play a good style of football, as we've seen, the way they played against us, where they absolutely battered us. And he does well with the players he's got. You know, he has, I can't think of the word, it's not coachability, but he's able to get the best out of his players, and players improve under him. He apparently did work with a very young Jared Bowen at his time at Hull. So there is that link there. But yeah, like I say, I did a little bit of research in terms of his style of play. Fulham usually, under him, have set up in a 4-2-3-1 formation. But it's very transitional. You know, a lot of Portuguese managers do this, where, and not just Portuguese, but modern managers play this style of, they'll set up with the 4-2-3-1, but it's very fluid. You know, the fullbacks are always in there. They can fill into good shapes. It's all about shapes and patterns. And like I say, I'd of all the names linked, in terms of realistic links, you know, the Gary O'Neill links, the Graham Potter links, I think this one, if we're talking realistic, this is the one that I'd probably would put high up in terms of West Ham. I still have a little bit of hope maybe that Eddie Howe might be moved on from Newcastle, but that might be a little bit longer. Like, he might, you know, I think he will get a little bit more time, purely because, you know, he did get him Champions League last year, and their squad has been absolutely decimated with injuries. You know, the guy I work with, Sam, who probably will be on the channel in a couple of weeks for the Newcastle game, you know, he says, you know, Eddie deserves a little bit more time, and maybe he will. Maybe he'll get a few games into the start of the season. If they don't start well enough, then he could go. But by then, it'll be too late for West Ham. I still believe maybe Eddie Howe could become the England manager after Southgate as well. He's still young. I still at some point reckon that Eddie Howe will become West Ham manager one day. But like I say, maybe the timing's just not quite there. So yeah, like I say, Gary O'Neill, I like the West Ham links. Everywhere he's been, he's done a decent job, Gary O'Neill, as well, if we're talking about him. Graham Potter, I think he needs a massive structure behind him for it to work. With the Chelsea job, again, poison chalice, you know, Pochettino is not a bad manager, but it's just not working there. At the moment, that club is just, it's not right, things at Chelsea. So anyone who's been at Chelsea, you know, it's hard to judge him. With Potter, he just doesn't really inspire me. It's not a name that's like, yeah, like, I don't know, I could be totally wrong. He could come in, you know, do fantastic stuff at West Ham and do a really good job, but no, he's not. He wouldn't be top of my list. Obviously, you've got the, you know, a few of the names on the continent as well that you could look at. But yeah, this Marco Silva one, I like it. I like this one. He was close to, I think he was going Saudi at some point. You know, he stalled on his contract a little bit. I don't know how long he's got left on his Fulham deal. So whether we'd have to pay some compensation. I like that we are being linked with managers that are not just out of contract. You know, your typical David Sullivan of, we don't want to pay any compensation. listen, Liverpool, by all accounts, if they or whoever wants to get Xabi Alonso out of Leverkusen, if he does go, I think it's somewhere between 15 and 20 million release clause. I've got nothing against paying for a manager, and neither should the club, if it's the right man. You know, at the end of the day, you're going to try and pay that money for the best players. If you want to try and do a real project and something that's going to work, then you've got to, you know, why not go and pay for a manager? There's reasons why managers are out of work, because it's not quite worked out, and it's not, that they're on a downer. Where if you're getting someone that's at a club and you've got to pay for them, it means they're doing something right. And I think that's a path that West Ham need to go down. If Tim Steidten is given the full backing and the trust to go and find the next man who's going to guide West Ham to the next level, whatever you want to call that, then yeah, you've got to do whatever he wants. You've got to let Tim die on his sword. If it is to go all right, all perfect, brilliant, good manager comes in, they adapt to the players, they develop the youth team, brilliant. But you can't. This is my fear with Sullivan: is you can't pick a manager for Tim to work with, and then when it doesn't work out, blame it on Tim. If Tim brings someone in and it doesn't work, then by all means, Tim didn't work out, mate. You got it wrong. Then fair enough, Sullivan. You tried, it didn't work. I'm not saying that that's going to be the case, and I've got full belief that Tim Steidten is working really, really hard. I just watched Nick's video, Claret and Booze, talking about all the players we've been linked with. It's true, they're all young players. None of you could truly say you've heard of these names that we've been linked with, but that's what you want. You want him to go and find those next players that will work with this new manager. Like Brighton with the Caicedos and the Mitomas and the Trossards and so on and so on and so on, names you've never heard of, that go on and be big players for big money. So yeah, that's about it. It's a little bit wobbly, this video, a little bit, like I went a little bit off tangent a little bit, but I just think, yeah, the fact that we're being linked with managers that potentially have buyout clauses gives me a lot of hope that Steiner's going to have a lot of power this summer. And with the Paquetá money to spend and anyone else we try to get off the books, could be interesting times. It's going to be a big manager merry-go-round all over the place. Wouldn't surprise me if Chelsea get rid of Poch and they look for a new manager. Eric Ten Hag's job's not fully safe either there. Obviously, Klopp's going. Tuchel's going from Bayern. Xavi's going from Barcelona. So there's a massive merry-go-round managers that are going to be going here, there and everywhere. And West Ham are going to be part of that. Until next time, guys, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Con you Irons.